In episode 12, I talked about my New Year's habits that I was going to work on in 2022. As 2022 nears an end, I want to circle back to share how I've been coming along or not coming along with these new habits that I worked on this year. Hi, I'm Allison Egidi, a pediatric sleep and wellness coach and a mom of two. I love to help parents find solutions. This is How Long Till Bedtime. I can't believe we are already in the last month of 2022. If you didn't listen to episode 12, I walked you through how I transitioned away from annual goals and started setting quarterly goals back in 2020. The thought being that checking in with myself quarterly would keep these goals more forefront in my mind. And it was working. So today I want to circle back on the habits that I had been planning to work on in 2022, and I want to share how I did. And I'm going to keep it real. So, as a quick summary, I was trying to build a habit of making my bed daily. I know it's silly, but I've struggled with it for years. I was trying to focus on washing a load of laundry daily rather than 1 to 3 times a week and being overwhelmed with the amount of laundry. And I wanted to work on meditating daily in the morning rather than just meditating at night. I also wanted to put an effort into reading more at night rather than watching TV or working, which have been very guilty of in the past. So, how did I do? Honestly, as I kind of sat down to think about this, I have to say, I don't think I did all that well, but I want to go through it and then I want to walk through my takeaways. With each of these habits, I had moments where I was on a roll and I was doing them very well, and they were serving me. But then I got thrown off course or sidetracked because 'tis the season. There's so much going on in my life, in your life, in all of our lives. We're all maybe in different seasons, but there's just a lot going on. So let me elaborate on what happened in my life, and then I'll share my plan for continuing to work on these habits in 2023. Let's start with the seemingly simple habit of making my bed. This is a super simple practice, and I seem to do well for a period of time, and then I totally drop the ball, and I am not totally sure why. If you recall, my plan had been to wake up at 6 a.m. during the week, which is 30 minutes before my girls get up, so that I wasn't rushed. And part of my morning routine was then going to be incorporating two of the habits that I wanted to work on. I was going to make my bed and I was going to meditate in the morning rather than just at night. Well, that morning ritual plan ultimately backfired, and I'm going to tell you why. I can't remember what month it was, but shortly into the year, I started sleeping really soundly until 6:30 in the morning, and I often still felt very tired in the morning. Previously, for years, I was waking up pretty consistently between 5 and 5:30 and feeling ready to go. So since this was a newer development for me, I decided that my body was telling me I needed more sleep. And that's fine. And it turns out that there was a reason that I was dragging in the morning. And we won't go into that today, but we're working on it and things are feeling better. But it resulted in me sleeping until 6:30 and then having to kind of jump out of bed to get the kids going to get ready for school, carpool, all the things, walking the dogs. I just had to jump right into the things that had to be done that morning. And while somehow I still did not take the 60 seconds I needed to make my bed. I That's a bit beyond me, but it's almost like once my morning ritual plan needed to change, I didn't adjust my mindset to have a new morning plan. So this also resulted in my morning meditation not happening before the kids got up. So that also became inconsistent. Now, let's talk about the morning meditation habit that I was hoping to build. I actually did adjust and I did do well at sticking with my plan of meditating in the morning during the first half of 2022. I was crushing this new habit. In fact, I went down a rabbit hole of trying different types of meditation and hypnotic meditation, and I was raving about it to all of my friends. It left me feeling motivated, grateful, all the things that you would want from a meditation. But then summer break hit, and I realized I have a very hard time meditating when my kids are in the house. It's taken a lot of practice just to learn to meditate and to learn to enjoy it and appreciate it. And then to have my kids home for the summer break, noises just carry in our house. And even if I'm in the basement where I often go to meditate, I could hear the kids making noises upstairs. And even if it's just their feet walking on the floor, and I could not stay in my meditative state. So I started to shift away from meditating before I started work during those summer months. And truth be told, I never fully got back to it when school started, even though that's what I kept telling myself. I'll get back to it. So towards the end of October, I was talking to a business friend of mine and I was complaining or venting a bit about how I was feeling really overwhelmed. And she so kindly and sweetly pointed out that she had noticed that I hadn't been talking about my great meditations as much in recent months as I had earlier in the year. And she wondered if that was playing into my resurfaced feelings of feeling overwhelmed, that I had so much on my plate and not enough time. This whole narrative that I used to carry a lot seemed to be creeping back. And man, oh man, am I so grateful that she pointed this out, because I immediately realized she was right. And I started building meditation back into my schedule 3 days per week. It's been a few weeks now, and I already notice a difference in my productivity and a big reduction in my feelings of overwhelm. So I was on course with this habit for about 5.5 months. Then I got off course for about 5 months, and now I'm back on track. But I haven't nailed down my perfect timing yet. More on that in a minute and how I'm going to navigate that, because as I'm planning out this episode, I'm thinking of my problem solving. So I'm going to circle back because I have an idea on that. And I also want to make sure it sticks this summer. Now, let's talk about my desire to do laundry daily. I completely failed this one. As a reminder, for years, I just did laundry on Sunday for years and years, and I hated it. And then, after being convinced by my best friend, I decided to try laundry daily. But somehow in 2021, that ended up being me settling into washing and drying laundry about 2 to 3 times per week. The problem was that at that point, there was enough laundry that had built up that I didn't always fold it right away. That was the benefit of doing the laundry daily. There wasn't much to fold, and it was really easy to fold it and put it right away. Well, during the first couple of months, I did a good job with my daily laundry, folding it right out of the dryer and putting it right into the kids' drawers or wherever it needed to go. But then, and who knows, I can't remember what happened, I started to slip back into laundry 2 to 3 times per week. And part of what held me accountable to not slipping all the way back to just doing it on the weekends was that I've been buying less clothes for the kids, particularly around their school clothes, because I thought if I don't have as many clothes or uniforms, I'm going to be forced to wash laundry. So that has worked. That's how I parented myself there. But I did slip back to 2 to 3 times per week rather than daily. And then, of course, I slipped on consistently folding. So the laundry that needed to be folded started to build up. In fact, just this morning, I found myself digging through 2 baskets of laundry, looking for socks for the kids to wear to school, and then being super annoyed with myself as I started to fold this very full basket of clothes. Like, why do I do this to myself? So there's another one. I'll circle back kind of on my plan there. And then the last one that I was going to work on was the reading more at night rather than watching TV or working. Here's a place I did have some success. I realized I just needed to commit to myself to stop working at night. So again, I can't remember this exact timeline, and I'm going to tell you why I can't remember all these timelines in a second. But I, at some point, realized you're not making much progress here, Allison, on not working at night. And so I just made a change on my calendar. So we changed when I did some coaching sessions. Now I only coach one night a week after the kids go to bed. And we just did some tweaking on my hours, and it has been a big game changer for me to allow me to focus on getting things done around the house that I want to get done after the kids go to bed, to sitting down and just unwinding in the evening. And so that has been successful. What I didn't do was really kind of pivot to reading. And I'm a little frustrated by that because anytime I do get into a reading kick, which I did over the summer, actually, I got into a reading kick over the summer and was kind of reading with my kids and talking about books that we were reading. And I'm so happy. And it gives me a great feeling of feeling like I'm fueling my curiosity, even when I'm reading fiction. And I love to be just kind of taken into a story. So I don't know why I fell off the train. That kind of came and went throughout the year, and I want to get more committed to it. So in general, I want to think about, why did I slip on these things? Why, unlike in 2020 and 2021, where I felt like, yes, I'm making a lot of progress to these new habits, why did this feel like it didn't really work out that well this year? And here's the frustrating truth that I'm bummed to admit. I didn't do the quarterly check ins with myself. As each quarter would end, I would think about the goals and I would kind of evaluate in my head how I was doing, if I was doing well or not so well. But I didn't journal or write anything down. And when I noted to myself, man, Allison, you're not doing so well with this new habit or more than one of these new habits, I did nothing to adjust my plan heading into that next quarter. So I'm not totally sure why I didn't stick to my quarterly check ins like I had previously done, but I think it's because we started to come out of our kind of COVID lockdown. Things became much busier with me not always being at home. I really entered a new season of life with my kids and my business. My kids have a ton more going on. They need to be in a million places. They have all these activities and they want to be out socializing more. My business has grown and evolved in new ways. I have this podcast and my days are packed with clients when the kids are at school. And it sounds a little silly, but as I'm preparing this episode and reflecting on these behaviors that I would not call habits yet, these behaviors that I wanted to become habits, I'm really realizing that I'm going to need to schedule my quarterly check ins and I'm going to need to schedule these habits into my calendar. So here's how I'm approaching 2023 because I am gritty and determined and I am not going to give up on these habits that I think will benefit me. So I'm still going to work on these same habits. I'm going to work on making my bed daily. I'm going to work on meditating in the morning at least 3 times per week because that's what I had fallen into the habit of. I was not doing it daily, even when things were going well, and I saw tremendous benefits with just the 3 days a week. So I'm going to focus on at least 3 days per week. And I'm going to continue to focus on doing laundry daily so that I don't feel overwhelmed by the folding and the putting away, which I hate so much that it's reached the point where my husband keeps saying, well, maybe you need to hire someone to come fold the laundry, which I have nothing against. I am all about getting help and resources. But to me, I just think that is silly. It would literally take me 10 minutes a day if I got my act together. So here's how I'm going to help myself make these happen. I'm going to put them on my calendar, just like I block times each week to plan and record these podcast episodes. I've also gone ahead as I was writing this episode. I literally stopped and I blocked out an hour at the end of each quarter to reflect on these goals. So it is on my calendar and all the way through into January of 2024. And I made a note on those calendar schedulers that I will share an update on Instagram with all of you. So you could keep an eye out for those updates on the last day, business day of March, June, and September, and that first business day of January, because I'm going to circle back with you there and be held accountable and keep you posted on how I'm doing. It's not about perfection, but I definitely want to make progress. I've also made little daily notes on my calendar for the morning right after the kids would be going to school and before I would start my day, asking myself if I've made my bed and if I've folded the laundry. I'm starting this now so that I can see how I do throughout the end of the year. So I am recording this in November. I'm starting this now and I'm going to check back in with myself in January to see how am I doing just for this short period of time at the end of the year. Is this working? If not, I'm going to have to come up with a new plan. So for quarter one, those three are my biggest priority. Make my bed every day, which I'm happy to report it is made this morning. Meditate in the morning at least 3 times per week. And that's going to be on my calendar as well. And I'm going to wash and put away a load of laundry every day. Other habits that I do want to work on in 2023 include reading nightly. I also want to start intentionally connecting with a friend weekly. I always feel better, good, great after I have a good connection with a friend. And so I want to be a little more intentional about that because sometimes I think about, for example, my best friend from college. And I think, oh, I need to call her and get an update. And we do something, we recently connected on her child's sleep. But I don't, and I will occasionally check in with her via text, but I don't chat with her enough. So I want to find a good time for her. I have found a good time to connect with my oldest, dearest, longest standing best friend. And it works that I call her on the way to pick up the kids, but it doesn't necessarily work for my other friend who's working all day. So that's just an example where I want to intentionally find a time to connect with a friend each week. So it might be first thing in the morning while I'm drinking my coffee, or at lunch, her lunch break, or in the evening after she's home and put her kids to bed. Anyway, that's just one example. There are other people I want to connect with, but I want to be more intentional about that, about connecting with people who fill my cup. I also want to focus on weight training at least 3 times per week. That's a topic for another episode, but I really want to focus on that. I'm having to do lighter cardio for my health, but I need to be more consistent with weight training. I enjoy it and it's really good for me. And I want to also start putting my clothes away each night rather than sometimes. I don't do this all the time, but sometimes, particularly if I'm like so tired and ready to go to bed, and I've been struggling with this since I had COVID, and by the end of the day I'm wiped, I just want to toss my clothes over the side of the tub and just think, oh, I'll deal with it in the morning. But then I'm super bummed to see those clothes in the morning. So I want to just have it be part, just how I wash my face and brush my teeth, that, hello, Allison, put away your clothes. So that's another habit I want to break or start doing, I guess. I don't break that bad habit, start a new one. But I'm putting those in the kind of try to do my best category. I am going to write them down, but I'm really going to focus this quarter on the first 3. On Sundays, I already do a look back on my previous week and a look ahead to make sure that things are blocked off and scheduled as they need to be for my business and for my kids and my family. And, what's coming up? Do we have the babysitter where we need it? And, is someone scheduled to drive the kids everywhere they need to be? Sometimes I need to be in 3 places at once and I need to get help. And so on Sundays, I'm always looking ahead to do that. And so in that practice, I'm also going to start making a note to check in with myself on all these habits and see, how did I do this week? It's also going to be part of things I'm focusing on weekly, just to do a quick check in. So there you have it. The truth is, in 2022, as life went back to more of a pre-pandemic style, I strayed away from my habit building process that worked so well in 2020 and 2021. But I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm just going to change my approach a bit so it will fit in my current packed schedule. And I'm going to continue to try to grow, change, and evolve into the future me that I desire, because that's kind of what makes life fun and interesting, if you ask me. So I would love to hear how you all did with your 2020 resolutions, goals, or new habits, or what you're planning to work on in 2023. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. My handle is at Sleep and Wellness Coach. Thanks for joining me again this week. I hope your holiday season is going well. Come back next week where I'll be sharing how we talk to our girls about their hopes and dreams for a new year. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to How Long Till Bedtime. To learn how we can work together to improve your child's sleep, please visit sleepandwellnesscoach.com.